Do we have any citizen comments? Seeing no citizens, I'm gonna guess not. Moving on to our agenda. Approval of the August 10th minutes is what I'm looking for.
It says August 10th, 2020.
Ooh, good catch. Yes. Did you get that one, Dawn? Just a typo.
On the agenda.
Yeah.
So when you approve it, you'll make that condition
Okay on the,
Okay.
change.
it appears to be okay on the minutes.
It is okay on the minute, it's just on the agenda.
Just on the agenda, yep. Somebody wanna make a
So I
motion?
move we approve the minutes of the August 10th, 2023 meeting
Wanna do the correction?
and correct the agenda to reflect 2023 rather than 2022.
All right, we have a motion. A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, wait, did I miss discussion? All right, we'll move on to the review of the bank statement. Any discussion on that? Except how they put it, but no one. Let's see. All right, any discussion on the bank statement? I will need a motion to approve it if anyone is interested in that.
We don't need a motion, do we? It's just a review.
It's just
Oh,
a review
it's a
on
review?
them.
Perfect.
I think it's just to show what has gone through.
So let's go back to any discussion.
So if there are questions or if anybody, if there's questions, that's what this time is for.
Anybody have any, or we'll move on? All right, let's move on to the review of paid invoices by the BID funds.
So we broke them up this time, so at the last meeting, we discussed the idea of instead of it being ones that you guys pre-approved and then ones that you were approving, that we would instead go with the idea of doing them with their project or area. So that is how we broke them down so that you can see, because there's multiple invoices that get divvied up into different areas. So you'll see that there are little spreadsheets that Brenda created showing the expenses associated with each event or area or project. And then I made notes if they have multiple invoices that go to multiple places, it'll say see the other section, because I just put them in there once rather than make 95 copies of each invoice. So like there's Hot August nights with all of their different invoices, and then there's like Crazy Days. Crazy Days might reference certain invoices from Hot August nights for like radio ads or whatever. It goes back and forth like that. Then the two that are separate from specific areas are going to be the Neon One and the QuickBooks Online. So those ones are done.
So we need separate motions for those.
Well, the first is just review.
No, so that's just a review. So that's just showing you that, one, you can see the check that covered everything you guys approved last month, right? Two, Neon One automatically comes out, QuickBooks automatically comes out. So again, you're just seeing that that has occurred. So then the first one you're actually going to review and approve is going to be 2023 Hot August Hoops expenses.
Okay, any question on the paid invoices? Or any discussion on that? The only thing that I would probably suggest suggest is on those spreadsheets, maybe having the date with it. Because some of it I looked at, I'm like, when did that happen, you know? And what is today versus last time, so.
Hot August Hoops, August 5th.
I'm sorry, for each individual invoice, because,
That makes sense.
yeah, what was part of this last part versus, that would be my only. Any other discussion on the paid invoices? Okay, let's move on to, that's a list, yeah.
On this particular sheet right here, I noted that I can only do so many lines before it won't show anymore.
Okay,
So, I can do a memo attached to any payments to BDL. So I can include that, but it won't be part of the actual check if there's more than this many lines.
okay,
So we
Do you have
haven't
a
had any that are longer than this
Right, so
in the
we're-
past,
so far we're
so I think
okay.
we're okay.
so when we
But
get
just
there,
to
maybe
know-
we'll find a solution for that,
Yeah,
just kind of in real time.
yeah.
If we get, maybe we can get over
Yeah,
it.
hopefully we don't need to do that, but you never know.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to Hot August Hoops expense of $77.96.53. Any discussion on that?
I thought these were things we had already approved. Let's check one we already approved, this
Yeah, the sheet Brenda just had.
For this reimbursement of August expenses, I thought that we had.
was part of the approval.
We have not reimbursed August expenses yet.
No.
Previous expenses were July.
This was July,
September
okay.
now, so we're looking at
Oh,
August
so-
expenses.
So then it shouldn't be that one.
So
It's
the,
radio ad.
So these are invoices you received in the month of August.
That's what it helps. I'm like, what?
Are there other anticipated?
No, it's closed out
It's closed.
entirely, yep. And there were a lot of expenses that BDL paid for. This would be anything in addition to that. To try to get more registered teams, more vendors, and then be able to advertise businesses downtown that were having specials associated with Hot August Hoops.
Invoice, are we looking at specifically?
You're
Size.
looking at,
It's
it's
Page
That's the
16 on the
spreadsheet.
whole.
Oh, it's just the spreadsheet.
it's a spreadsheet, and then there are invoices behind the spreadsheet.
With details. I would like to note that I did meet with the Boys and Girls Club and Inland Cellular that are our partners with this. We've had, I guess for lack of better words, lack of communication between all three entities for the event. And looking at our P&L over the last 2 years, I did have a sit-down meeting with the Boys and Girls Club to try to figure out how to offset some of these costs. As you can see on here, shirts are pretty expensive. It's probably the most expensive thing that we have for the event. We pay for all the initial artwork to be done, for all the proofs to be approved, send them out to all the sponsors for approval, and then going forward, I think we've agreed that we can split the costs with the Boys and Girls Club for some of the bulk of the event. And then BDL would also split with the BID, so that amount should be at a quarter of the cost going forward.
I know we talked about hopefully getting ahead of everything now.
Yeah.
Pandemic's over.
Yeah.
Let's do that, okay. Do I have a motion or any more discussion on that?
I move that we approve the expenditures for Hot August Hoops 2023.
Motion,
Yeah, I second it.
second, any discussion? Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's move on to the Crazy Days expenses for 2023 of $225.
So Crazy Days just has a spreadsheet because that invoice is included in the Hot August Hoops invoice. You'll see, not that one, no, sorry.
I'm gonna do the one that says TPC Holdings at the top. It's page 17 of your packet.
There we are. So I tried to highlight when something was half and half.
Okay.
And that's why I referenced the previous invoice so that you could see that there was more than one event being covered by that invoice, rather than continuing to make copies of the invoice and kind of. That can be confusing, because then it makes it look like you're approving in much larger amounts than you want.
Right. Any discussion on the motion?
So moved.
First,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to the 2023 Sound Downtown expense of $43.25.
On the Seismo professional sound invoice, I just wanted to clarify the 50%. The total cost for Seismo to run Sound Downtown, book the bands, pay the bands, really just manage that side of Sound Downtown, the total cost was $6,800. BDL paid the $3,400, and so this would be 50% of that addition. We've never really hired a professional service to be able to do that, and it worked out really well this year, so I think we'll probably also do that next year, with board approval.
All right, any more discussion? No motion.
I move to accept the Sound Downtown expenses as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to downtown tailgate expense of $250.
Discussion, is this all of the downtown tailgate expense, or there's gonna be more because it's just
There
the,
will be more.
yeah.
I just haven't received the invoices yet. We have ads running up until tomorrow, and the event is on Saturday.
Will we approve the expenditures that we've received to date from? I got them, missed the label here. Downtown.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, moving on to the 23 downtown art walk expense for $250.
This is also just preliminary advertising. We will be having billboards on some of the digital signage with the Tribune, as well as some donated or in-kind reader boards from various businesses. So I will include the in-kind just to see an overview of what was given, but then the expenses will go in here as well. For Art Walk, we have advertising running up until October 5th.
It says, how is the BID contributing, or the art walk stuff, it still says, it's still referencing downtown tailgate, cornhole tournament sign up. downtown art walk list. I know you would see the downtown tailgate list of expenses or the invoices, but that should be different, right?
Because
she
it's
just-
on this.
She just means on the spreadsheet, you didn't change that.
Like
I didn't catch
what is
that.
the, yeah,
Yeah, okay, thank you.
just so it refers to that specific, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Emmy, you wanna make that motion?
Yeah, all right, I move to approve the 2023 downtown art walk expenses as presented with the change in how the BID is contributing section.
Give it a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, print craft printing, BID logo banner for events for $135.15.
So in my haste of trying to get everything put together, I didn't, same thing with this, QuickBooks just automatically puts in the last thing that was paid, so the discrepancy in there is actually not 2023 Sound Downtown sponsor banners, but it is the 3-foot by 5-foot banner that has the Business Improvement District logo that we put up at all of our events. I did have a lot of questions at Hot August Hoops, because we also had the BDL banner up, and so a lot of people asked, well, what's the difference between the two of them? So it created a lot of really positive discussion, so I plan on continuing to put that up at our events, and
I don't know, that's a good way.
yeah.
Is that everywhere?
Who
Okay.
would've thunk it? So every event that is being partially funded by the BID will have a BID banner.
But we approved the expenditure, 135. Just lost it again, 15.
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, one more. BDL hours, staff hours of 1920 and volunteer hours of 1320 for a total of 40.
I move that we approve volunteer and BDO staff hours for August 2022 as presented.
Actually, I'm gonna take that and say you need to fix it.
Oh,
Yeah, good job.
Ah,
see your.
I read it right off the
Recognize you.
I know.
I'd like to amend my motion to approve the BDL staff and volunteer hours as presented for August 2023 with it, and to correct the typo on the submitted form from 2022 to 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we're catching all kinds of typos now. This is awesome. Okay, let's move on to the review of the 2023 work plan and budget. This is a big discussion item. Hopefully you guys brought all your homework.
Okay, so we're gonna go over. This way, no, not this one. There it is, this one, okay. Hope this works. Okay, so we're gonna go over 2023 work plan, and then we're gonna talk about 2024 work plan. So what I want you guys to be thinking about as we're having this portion of the discussion is what items are left on this list that were unable to be accomplished this year for whatever reason. What do we think is still a viable project and we want to move it towards the 2024 plan? And then we're gonna need to come up with how are we gonna actually make it happen in 2024? So,
Not expecting a motion.
Thank you for your notes on these two.
So the 2023 work plan is included in your packet. So area 1 is commercial, residential, and public investment. So these are activities to provide investment to engage the community in public spaces, which lead to improved property occupancy rates, downtown investment, increased residential units, enhancement of the user experience, and strengthening of the downtown economy. So for 2023, items included in this area were things such as create a list of developers and identify the hurdles they are experiencing and provide assistance. To sponsor a forum where subject matter experts from community development, public works, and parks and rec can provide an overview of the permitting process and answer the public's questions. And then develop a list of possible mural locations and content and secure property owner support. I believe the mural project is in the works, yes?
Yes, so the only thing that we're waiting on right now is whether or not LCSC students will be able to participate per the new policies of the college.
Okay. So the other option, I guess, if you wanted to move forward with that one, would be for BID to include it in next year's work plan and to designate funds for paid artists to do the murals, rather than the volunteer situation that we are currently exploring with LCSC.
Can I add to that? So it wouldn't be volunteers doing the art from LCSC. LCSC students create a bid proposal for paid artists based on their research of the history of downtown and what the mural will look like. So that's their involvement there as a piece for a capstone project. We tried to move it over to the Work Scholar program, but they just don't have enough applicants right now to be able to manage what it takes to put those bids out, do the research, get a professor involved, and then potentially hire an artist. So that's what I'm waiting on.
So if that process, for whatever reason, doesn't move forward, are there alternatives? Like, could we work with Stephen Branting and the Nez Perce County Museum to develop what sort of artwork would be appropriate? And then
We could essentially take the research that has already been done and adopt the mural that has been presented, and then try to find an artist that's willing to do that, and then remove LC out of it entirely. That's one option. The other option is for us to take the mural itself and maybe as an example and have someone create a similar mural so that we're not taking the artwork of one specific person or group, and then they can just be paid outright through BDL with funds partially from the Business Improvement District.
We discussed this a lot. I kind of see this as an opportunity to get some public input into things that are happening downtown. If we had a couple of options, maybe we could put out, what would you prefer, you know?
like a survey or something.
Like a survey, just to see, I mean, the lack of people just. I don't know if that would be a way.
That was kind of part of the project that the students did with Amy Canfield, is they did a survey and what would you like to see and what's important downtown? How are we creating a mural that supports the history of downtown and its community members? And they did come up with a mural, but due to the change to LC, it can't be associated with the type of mural it's gonna be. So where we kind of stopped. We can still do it. We would have to purchase the artwork from the current artist, which is pretty pricey. Versus going through the college, they have their own process where they curate the artist and then we just pay a portion of materials.
That kind of what happened with the wraps, right?
Okay, so those are the items that were, that the board had put into the plan last year for that area. So then area 2 is neighborhood improvements. Activities that strive to decrease traffic speeds, enhance pedestrian experience, improve bicycle safety, and invest in public spaces. So under that one, we had coordinate with Parks and Rec to improve Brackenbury Square with the installation of sunshade, improved sound system and lights, backdrop and removable seating. Identify locations and specific text for wayfinding signs. Sign details will be submitted to the Department of Public Works and the BID Board for approval. Secure a recommendation from Department of Public Works and the Police Department on the visibility of and type of crosswalk beacons and install if appropriate. So I believe the wayfinding sign situation is still in process, and we did have 64 signs removed that were not really applicable anymore. It used to be that street sweeping was done between 2:30 in the morning to 5 a.m. And there were a ton of signs that said, don't park here between 2:30 in the morning and 5 a.m. That's not how the street sweeping program works anymore, and that's not the time it happens. So all those signs have been removed. We also had, was it 3-hour parking? We also got all the 3-hour parking signs removed because that's not something that is enforced. Police department does not have that particular position anymore. That person retired, they were unable to fill it, it's not a high paying position. So we worked with Public Works and PD and they said removal of those signs would not be detrimental to anything and didn't violate any of the safety sign regulation things that come from ITD. So signs did come down, and then I believe that the design committee with BDL is in the process of evaluating both sign location and sign text to do new wayfinding signs. And once they have kind of that nailed down, they will come in front of this board and present what they have come up with. Then, Brenda, do you wanna go over like the different installation items with Brackenbury Square? I know a lot of those are still kind of in the works where we have them, but they're not up yet.
Correct. So we have the sunshades and all the equipment for them. Our kind of hiccup right now is figuring out the best place to put the posts to attach the sunshades and not disrupt any of the Vista lines or any other infrastructure underneath Brackenbury. Also, to not really disturb the cement or any additional charges that would require or would be required in order to put a post in. The other part of that is we opted for no removable seating or a sound system and lights because we don't have enough staff to maintain those and or store them. So the seating was a storage issue with the system lights at backdrop and sound system. We do have a storage space right at Brackenbury, but they would have to be removed and installed for every event, and there isn't a dedicated staff member to do that. So that's actually why we went towards Seismo Professional Sound, because they bring all of that equipment for any of our events. We also go through them for other business events downtown if they want to host something. We actually pay for Seismo to go in for them so that they don't have that additional cost. And then they have a professional setup in Brackenbury since we don't have a working sound system right now, so. I don't have a schedule from Parks and Rec on when the installation of that will happen. My recommendation would be to move it to 2024 and really put emphasis on Parks and Rec department to get that done before Sound Downtown.
The other option, if Parks and Rec doesn't have enough staff available to do it either, would be for us to go out to a contractor to find someone else to come in and do that installation.
I think that might be what we have to do. That could be in the budget.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I would like the board to think about is how do we actually get projects physically completed? And it might have to be that we don't depend on volunteer hours or city staff having time to work it into their current work schedules, and we do go outside and look at local contractors that can come in and do the work so that things can get done in a timely manner.
Chairs and benches be on that in that area too.
They are, cause
They're
they
not
actually,
listed in
they
here,
actually
okay.
fell from the previous year.
Okay.
And so because the order lag time was so long, they were just kinda floating there, cause they did get ordered in their planned year, but did not arrive until this year.
Well, they got ordered and then canceled and then.
So we have all of the planters, all of the benches, all of the trash receptacles. They are in the storage unit for the city or Parks and Rec. So it's just a matter of, again, either we rely on that department to put them in, or we hire a contractor to help us get those put together. And then I would suggest also that the BID only pays a portion of that, and because of the maintenance going back to Parks and Rec, I feel like they need to have some kind of an investment in the cost of getting those done.
What's their thought on that?
That was a recommendation from Parks and Rec, so.
Oh, okay.
Just that investment piece, so similar to our adopt a planter or a trash receptacle, once someone's name is on it, they feel a little bit more responsible to take care of it. But also, it can be worked into an annual budget with the Parks and Rec department or streets or, whatever department is taking after some of those things, to be able to. We don't really wanna purchase something and then just leave it there. That's kind of what happened with the wood benches and the wood trash receptacles. They got put up, they got painted, and then they were just, that was it. And so now they're deteriorating and falling apart because they didn't have that upkeep. So with the current furniture that we purchased, we did do materials that don't deteriorate as quickly and can be replaced if needed at a much lower cost versus the planters that we have now. Some of them were custom built, which I'm not sure why that was the thing, but we wanna make everything kind of look similar or have a connection all the way down. We'll start with a new bench and planters over by Cornerstone Interiors and the computer chip, that kind of like three-way racing lane. Everybody tries to like get in front of you, right in front of your office.
I know about it.
Yeah. So we'll start at that end and move west. So that, because that's kind of the area where folks are like, well, what's in it for me? We don't see any improvements. And so we did purchase additional furniture to be able to put it a little bit further down. There's also a little bit more walkability down there now and more places to actually go to. So being able to put a bench for those that may not be able to just do the walk all the way, they can sit down, enjoy, some of the improvements that even businesses have done on their own. So that's kind of the idea, is to start at that end and move this way for all of those items.
Okay, so, and then C was about crosswalk beacons, so,
That's not gonna happen. It's too expensive.
so like the full-on like hawker style deal that like they put down at, on Snake River Avenue, so you can get to the Southway boat ramp, something like that is about $120,000, not counting like the upkeep and stuff like that, but just the installation is like $120,000. They have other ones like the flashing red light and the sign thing, and I think those are like $30,000 a piece. Those are the numbers that I had gotten from Public Works, when I reached out to them regarding that. So, I mean, you could probably put in one and that's gonna wipe your whole budget.
Just not
So
realistic.
is this the
for budget
appropriate
we have.
spot to talk about still the worst place in downtown, as far as I'm concerned, is the squeeze that we have at the library corner, where people come around from,
from
D
D Street
D
into the
Street
loop, or they
and
try to go to,
don't have patrons using the regular crosswalk, they use
no,
the,
they like to, they go
they
right in the middle,
go right
they
from
can
the
go
parking lot,
past
it is the most dangerous, it's dangerous for the drivers because they come around naturally and all of a sudden there's somebody there they're not expecting. And it's also, there's not enough space there from that turn to that area where they come out of the parking lot. It is probably one of the most unsafe places downtown. I've been concerned about it and remain get more concerned, I guess, about some sort of marking, warning, something that.
I mean, I could ask Streets to come and talk about it, but they're probably gonna say, need to direct people to use the crosswalk. There is a sign as you come out of there saying that you're not supposed to turn, left. Cause that's such a short kick, lots of people still turn left.
Ironically, we don't have a lot of readers.
Leaving the library parking lot. I mean, I agree that that's not a great situation right there. I don't know how we can
So
feasibly fix it.
So another option instead of crosswalk beacons, and I have talked to the mayor a couple times about this, is to just make sure that all the crosswalks are painted and that it's fresh paint because that's really visible. Right now, they're not terribly visible, but when they get painted, even traffic slows down on Main. So maybe changing that, because of the cost of the beacons, maybe changing it to, getting those repainted, the crosswalks repainted instead.
wondering if something, when we looked at all of our signage, I was a little concerned that, now I'm concerned, and I should have been more concerned earlier. And that turn from D Street, if there were some sort of warning to people that it was a high congested area.
on the ground. Street, like something, people look at pictures now, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think that's a good one for 2024.
An outline of a couple dead people on,
This could be you, if you're not careful.
Something, I mean, I know that there is signage that you can do that just says congested area ahead or something like that. We could find out what
Just seems to me like that is just
What
a
the
high.
cost of something like
risk
that
area for
is.
everybody.
I don't know, I just think, during COVID, they put all these 6 feet things all over
Yeah.
the place that people pay attention to. Maybe it's in their heads now, and you drive out, you walk out, you go to cross, and it's like, oh, hang on, use the crosswalks, some kind of a sign, or be careful. Just that extra split second to make people think, I don't know. Good 2024 discussion, for sure.
So we're not gonna finalize it today, we'll finalize it in October so that Brenda can get it to council. But for the October meeting, I can definitely check with Streets and Engineering on, is there like congested area signage that we can do? Can we get just a sign that has like the flashing lights on it for that kind of stuff? Is there another used crosswalk sign that we could put like in front of the library, kind of just signage things rather than like the whole beacon situation? I can see if I can get some numbers on that kind of stuff.
I even thought painting the sidewalk at that point with a huge arrow that said, use crosswalk,
Yeah, well,
Brenda just-
I always wonder why we don't the crosswalk isn't super wide there, because people just walk right across the street anyway.
Yeah.
And I go through there probably as much or more than anybody, and I mean, I'm always letting people go, I don't have a problem with it whatsoever.
I
It's
think
usually
there's a-
families and kids.
I think there's a national traffic standard
Yeah,
for
probably.
crosswalks that they have to do, and so having a crosswalk at the actual corner,
Yeah,
they're not gonna put another one just in the driveway area because that's where people want to walk. Like, those are set up by
So what would?
it's where they are
standards that are
walking.
much larger than y'all or even the city that comes
We
from
pay
it.
attention when we're out of town.
Yeah.
We don't pay attention to what we're paying attention to in other areas and
Yeah.
But some
Take
areas
pictures.
do have that, they have them right in the middle of the street, not at a corner, like if it's a high traffic area.
Sandpoint's a walking town and there's right in the middle of the town.
Even if it doesn't look like an actual crosswalk, but that there's lines on there to
That's
just
what
alert
just something
drivers
to alert
that
drivers
people are
that people
walking,
use
yeah.
this.
Okay, so I can ask that question too,
Yeah.
and street be painted.
Because it's
There are-
oftentimes, older people or children, a
Yep.
lot of times, and
Okay,
I worry
additional
about that,
striping.
sometimes when you're in there.
Both of those down. Okay, super.
So Katie, would it be helpful if we go to each of these areas and just add to the list right now the things that have to carry over to
Yes.
24? Okay.
I'm gonna try to get all my things right now first. Okay, so area one,
So that the create a list of developers and identifying hurdles. I mean, a lot of them aren't really, when they're in the middle of projects, they're not exactly wanting to talk about all the hurdles that they're experiencing. I think that's not really a thing we'll do, but I like the idea of keeping a forum, like trying to come up with something like that, and then on our list.
So
Yeah.
for the forum thing, yes, we could do something for, I guess, the public in general. But the city does offer what's called the Development Review Committee. It meets every single Wednesday morning. And that's an opportunity for a developer to come in front of all applicable city departments and usually some outliers too. Lloyd comes to it, Health Department comes to it, sometimes the Port comes to it, sometimes the Chamber comes to it, sometimes Valley Vision comes to it. And that's an opportunity for developers to come in and talk about a project and kind of kick the tires. Figure out all the things that they need to figure out before they actually move forward. So, they get zoning information, they get water and sewer information, infrastructure information. If they have an actual building plan, they can get building information. Our trades are sometimes represented if they have questions about plumbing, mechanical, or electrical. If they're gonna do a subdivision, city surveyor can come and walk them through what that process looks like. So that is available if you have like an actual project that you're considering. My only concern with it being like the public's questions is that could be a gamut of things. And a lot of times, so when you do a DRC, they provide some information regarding what their project is, where it is, that kind of stuff. It's specific. And that gives the city departments a little bit of time to get that specific information and be able to answer those specific questions. It's really hard to answer any question in the whole world just on the fly like that.
Spot. So for us then, for our BID area specifically,
So I guess you guys need to decide if doing that is something that you think is really your wheelhouse, where you would like to add value to the area, or are there other things that you would like to do that could be considered commercial, residential, public investment?
I don't see that the way people show up for things, I just don't see that there's that much value in it, like the cost. I would like to have something on the BID and BDL website, that has easily accessible information for people, because I still feel like sometimes they don't know where to go. But I don't know that we need to continue down this road of trying to.
Well, and I think if we wanted to do something more kind of simplified like that, I don't think it would be that difficult for us to come up with a series of links that go to specific areas of the city's website, for specific things like, I have questions about zoning. It's really easy to attach you right to zoning. And Unicode is pretty easy to understand. It goes through and it shows all the things, or a link to the maps. So again, maps have the colors on them, and the colors associate with the zone,
And then
or
a
if they have-
description of the DRC maybe,
yep,
And
we can
then,
do something
yep,
like that, and who
the
they contact
basics
to
of
get on
what they
that.
need, yep.
So how much of that particular work is already done by this building when people come in the door?
A lot of it.
All of it.
Oh, excuse me.
A lot of it.
Because we need to build a natural spot for people to go, and this appears to be the natural spot for people to go. Is it well-known? I'm not a person, not a developer, but I would assume that a developer would know to come to the development. Or they don't.
They come to our office, they go to
Really?
Valley Vision.
Oh, yeah.
They go to the chamber, they go to realtors, they go to.
So it's important for you to have a resource to get
To
them
send
to
them.
the right
We-
place.
We have links that go straight to the city website for various information already, so that we're not recreating a whole page necessarily, but just linking to something that's already available. And then we just add information, you know, if you want further information that, or you can't find what you're looking for, this is where you go and this is who you talk to.
All those things are being done.
Yeah. Matter
The
of,
offices are open enough to go to that.
and if it's on, I mean, most people are gonna look online first. So if it's something that they know that, even if it's in multiple places pointing to the same location, no matter where they go, they're still getting the same information versus us trying to recreate something and then we miss,
Having to keep up on it.
yeah. I think an accumulation of links that, you know, if this, then this, if this, then this, and then we can put that on the homepage of it, and then everything gets redirected to the city website where the information is most current.
I mean, you're saying let's just remove that for 220.
I think so. I think both A and B are not really things that are going to have a lot of value. But again, the links, just making all of our information super consistent and easy for people that are looking to invest in our BID district.
So what, I got lost in our main sentence there because there are things that I'm not sure that we're totally doing. I know that we're doing, for example, property occupancy rates to improve all of those things. I know that there's things going on, that we show people the lofts, that we, you know, what businesses are available and all that sort of thing. But is there something else we should be adding in that?
Well, I kind of think that this area, in area 3, number A, is actually, should be in area 1. This is where we have a page that has available properties for sale or for lease, whether they're residential or commercial, just they're in the district.
Do we have
And
a
we're almost
specific?
there, we almost have that,
That's something that.
yeah, it's
So it's
almost.
still in the testing mode, so right now our hiccup is that it doesn't automatically come down. So after 30 days, the goal is for a reminder email to go out to the listing agent and say, your property is going to be taken off of this, you know, particular list, do you want to renew? Yes, click here, it renews it for another 30 days, that's our only, that's where we're waiting right now.
Okay. So,
But do we think that is actually in area 1 or is that in area 3?
Not necessarily promoting businesses.
Yeah.
I think it's more commercial, residential, and public investment.
okay, so are we thinking we would like to include pages or links to the BDL website for properties for sale or lease in the district? Do we want to move that to area 1?
Yes.
Yes. And I guess it's in process, so I guess the thing would be to launch it in 2024. So behind the scenes should be done by then, realistically speaking. Yeah,
Make sure it's working right.
launched and monitored, yeah.
And then what about our mural? Do we want to continue to work on trying to get that completed and leave that on the list for area 1?
I like the mural concept personally. There's a good place to the history. I think that's what we have to play to. Downtown is history.
It's a visible item, so, you know, hopefully we locate it somewhere where it helps with beautification sorts of stuff.
It complements the one that's already there.
feel like the partners that we can have can help further the BID word though too, you know, so. And if we end up doing anything with the school, that's huge too, bringing it into our community, so
Ellen LCSC is a BID partner, right?
let's do it,
They're
let's keep it on
part
there.
of the BID, they're paying,
We're already in it deep too, so.
I would do it too,
Okay, so what about new items? What are new projects we would like to see happen in Area 1? This was your homework from last meeting. You were supposed to have ideas.
You know, I'm still a huge proponent of somehow incenting, you know, the redevelopment of second-story living, second-story apartments throughout downtown, because that's gonna help, you know, like, that mix of residential and commercial is gonna be huge.
It's huge.
I just don't know how, you know, I mean, there's been a lot of efforts underway. I don't know how to crack that.
Well, and we have limited resources
Right,
to
right.
grants or anything like that specifically.
Yeah, is there ability to, I don't know,
Cause, well, wait, so what was our budget for
on grant writing services for
Yeah.
somebody, you know, I mean.
$13,000 was all we had designated
Mhm.
for that particular area for 23. That's not gonna go very far.
Right. We could also work with the city grant writer, Melinda, to try to figure out if there are grants that specific businesses qualify for. And
Property owners?
yeah, and if it's something that the property owner can apply for or the city applies for, and then it's an application process. She's been really great about sending me, you know, here's a new grant that I saw that somebody might qualify for. But they're very specific, so it would just be a matter of continuing to relay that information to property owners to see if they do qualify for any of those.
So for our ideas from last time, it says are grants available for development and are there tax incentives?
There are tax incentives, but
Yes.
they're really, really, really specific and in a lot of cases can be really restrictive. And those are specifically for income generating properties that have some sort of historic designation. But doing rehabilitation has to meet standards set forth by the National Park Service. And they are really,
Really ugly,
they
I
are
can tell you.
sticklers on it. So it's much different than, you know, coming in front of the Historic Preservation Commission and they're kind of, let's stick you in a hole somewhere, you know, and they're really willing to work with property owners to improve buildings and stuff like that. If you're trying to get those historic tax credits, there's no wiggle room at all. Like, they're like, this is the criteria, you have to meet all of these. And it's not as objective, unfortunately.
Am I kind of hearing that, or this whole discussion is about beautifying and filling space downtown, and possibly through grants or incentivizing people to do so? And then what I would suggest with that is NAR has a ton of grants out there, so we can partner with them and like.
You
so-
guys have to do the application.
Yeah, we can do that, Travis will help us with that, but helping find the right one is a big deal. But say the BID gives $2,000 toward incentivizing somebody, quite likely they'll match it and you got $4,000.
So we would have to verify with state code regarding how business improvement districts work, that is a way that you can use funds.
And the,
That if we could actually grant them to other people
Yep.
for their projects.
Or even, you know, oftentimes it costs money to have somebody write the grants and
Yeah.
spend that time. I mean, even providing some,
So we had a budget item for a grant writer.
or some, you know, grant writing services that maybe we match some.
now we're getting somewhere because we'll be able to put some dollars to it.
Yeah, cause I mean, there's an expense just in applying for grants. It's not that easy.
They're usually
It's
a
huge.
lot of
Yeah.
money.
Yeah,
It's just the marquee that we just did the Idaho Heritage Trust for, what we expected of a non-paid architect at this point, because he doesn't have any money coming to him. But in order to bid for, to put things out to, you have to have bid things that you submit in the grant. There's 120 hours of just preliminary work that was done just to get the marquee part submitted for $100,000 grant.
Right,
And
anybody
that whole
thinks going
project
after
is
grant funds is
300,000.
easy,
I know.
I would tell you to.
No, it's absolutely not, and that's part of, that there's an expense and an impediment to just applying for grants because of the.
Okay,
We
so
didn't
do we
mean to
wanna
get us
put
on
that
that.
just
Let's
as
go
an
back to
idea
the
and I
subject.
can,
Yeah.
But it's
So
good.
I'm trying to help you with this
Like-
third one. Is it about beautifying and filling space downtown, which subcategory could include residential? Cause you want, okay, so then a question that I have, maybe Brenda can answer, do we know the percentage of space that is vacant or full in residential and commercial downtown? To have a base, and then can we have a goal of increasing?
Percentage.
Figure that information out.
Right, yeah, it's changed.
Okay, so maybe it is maintaining what we have and adding 2 new businesses next year downtown and, you know, dealing with blight or beautification or, you know, improvement, that kind of thing. Okay, so your third thing though,
I mean, are we just going to provide a list of potential grants?
I think it's about what, just the subject right now and we'll do the logistics later.
Yeah. So, but as a line item, so we could put together a list of all grants that could potentially work.
Right.
I mean, obviously, they're not gonna work for every project, but the resources that we have, a lot of people don't know about NAR grants for block grants or for beautification stuff. You know, we can just have a central list. It's not gonna cost us much money to do, that's just time, so that would be going into.
That was actually a line item in the original 2023 work plan. In coordination with like Young Vision, CETA, SBDC, grant writers. To work collectively to get that information to investors, so.
Sorry, I did not mean to get everybody on grants, that's not,
Well,
the grants will come
So,
as
yeah,
how to
so
do some of the
just with
things.
locating grants, resources, financial resources.
Just,
And again, I'm sorry, what happened was we got away from what Doug was bringing up.
oh, that it
And
was.
so that's what, it's like we went on to something else. And so I don't wanna miss what he said, cause it's very important that we do fill these spaces downtown and utilize all that square footage that we have down here.
Yeah,
I'm
just
just
if
gonna put that as a question then, how
you've got a housing problem,
do
Yeah.
we
Seriously.
We have available space.
we have available space and businesses that would benefit from.
fill?
And then through that, we go after the grants that maybe help.
Yeah,
develop
and
those
it's difficult, it's a, like I said, I don't know how to solve it, but.
Yeah.
Seems like the elephant in the room, or the
Well,
elephant on Main Street.
And what I hear about people who wanna move down here, they still have some basic fear that the building owners are not completely redoing those spaces that we know are old and need to be, you know, rewired and all of that. I think there's an insecurity from people who think about they wanna be downtown, but is that building safe?
Does that building have bats? There's a downtown business dealing with bats right now. Okay, so I'm gonna put assist with locating grants, resources, financial resources, tax incentives. We'll figure out what that really means, but we're gonna go with that as our starting. After this meeting, I will again send out that list to you guys. Again, your homework is to be bringing back concrete ideas that we can make actions on, okay? So then how do we fill available spaces in downtown? Right now, that's just gonna be high-level question. Again, we're gonna do some actual item thinking to move that forward. How do we make that actually happen, okay? Okay, let's move on to number 2, neighborhood improvements.
A needs to be
Still need to have a plan for
continued to
Brandon
2024. And I would add that we put money towards hiring a contractor to get this completed in the spring.
Finalize
I think we should budget for that.
installation. Sunshades.
Just warning you, that could be a lot of money. Oh, that.
We already own, the sunshades are already purchased there, we just need
Yeah,
somebody
just
to
the
install the
installation itself.
poles,
The
but yeah.
shades are big enough, the poles though are, my son did some for schools in Pullman,
Okay,
or engineered it.
Oh.
And
Okay, so we're gonna
That
put
was
a
nice.
finalize on that one. We're gonna put, since wayfinding is still in process, we're gonna put finalize / install wayfinding signage.
We had a Tuesday morning with people who were trying to walk from the boat, a tour. They wanted to leave the bus tour and then come back an hour later, and they're trying to find their way around. Luckily, the bus company or the boat company has improved its mapping for them that they get to look at a little bit earlier. So it was a little bit safer for them to get back in their time frame. But they wanted to come down to, we had a couple of ladies who just wanted to go down to Newbury Square and wanted to walk themselves from the museum and get back in enough time. And they said, oh, that's a wonderful place. And, you know, I mean, I liked hearing that. And they, little goodies with them, so I'm assuming that they purchased something there.
Okay, so we're gonna put finalize on those two items, and then are there,
we're removing C from that, right?
yeah,
Except
I'm also
for-
gonna put installation, since we have them, they have not been installed yet, I'm going to put install
Planters, benches, trash.
the planters, really specialty, planter. Benches and trash receptacles. Time for some action.
Do we do any active work with getting people to sponsor those, to maintain them, is that where that
We
goes?
talked about that for sure at the
So
adopt.
we would need to install them and figure out the locations, especially for refilling the basin of the planters. Happen maybe once quarterly, if it even needs it. But access to those planters with a water truck or a water source of some kind, we need to figure out where they're gonna go specifically. I have a map of where they could go, but I need confirmation on whether or not water is accessible so that we can continue to maintain those if they don't get adopted by a business, and if the business does want to adopt it, do they have a correct water source? And instructions on, this is how you refill it, this is, you know, these are a list of native plants, this is where you can go purchase them, that type of thing, so.
But that's on your shoulders, not on ours necessarily.
Neighborhood improvements, new items, there's a bunch of things that need to go up that we have already purchased.
Can we help get to Normal Hill a little safer? I've been watching a lot of people walk back and forth nowadays.
Please explain to me what you mean by that.
Well, didn't we talk about like opening the stairs up again and a few different things that could be improved, some lighting, some
Oh, like on
improvements?
the backside, the Pioneer Park stairs?
Yeah,
Right now.
We do have on this list, we have safety in our brainstorming from our strategic plans. Last time, we have safety and lighting being on the list. I do believe an inventory was done
just
of the
lighting
lights
period, like,
that need replaced or, so that's
So I
been,
sent out about 6 different requests to electricians to try to get those replaced with the lights that the city has, and I got 0 confirmation, voice messages. I did get a couple that were like, yeah, we'll think about it, and then nothing, so,
budget for that. They won't even bid it, is what you're saying. No, they won't bid it.
That's just because their
But-
workload, their schedules are already filled, or?
I didn't really get an answer either way. I kind of think if we had a larger lighting project, so if we didn't just do the lights that are downtown that need to be fixed, but also did
Installations.
stairs, if we included Pioneer Park, if we included D Street parking, and made it a much broader project, I think they would be a little bit more interested than, you know, what could potentially be a one-day.
I think area two, just general for new thing, I don't think it's that new because we've been talking about it for a while, but it hasn't been identified in the work plan, is lighting and installation of lights, because that is a complaint I've heard from people.
I'm gonna put lights on the scary stairs, I'm gonna put lights in other areas.
We've got some public parking
Everybody knows what I
spaces,
mean when I
right?
say the
Yeah.
scary stairs,
Yeah.
not applicable.
Yeah.
Question is, if you put light there, are they still scary?
Well, then we'll
There's a glass elevator.
on the BID stuff, other areas.
And then
Because they might still be scary.
maybe in light of our conversation about the library being unsafe a little bit, maybe just a category of identifying unsafe areas that could be improved. That's just an action, you know, like, it doesn't cost any money, just identify those and how can we improve them.
Okay,
I will
safety
tell you.
and improvements.
Snake River Avenue is scaring the crap out of me, cause I see kids come down there and they're just like, right across the street, they don't even look, stop, anything, and those cars are going 35, 40 miles an hour. And I've seen kids almost
So
get
there will be
hit.
some improvements done to Snake River, I believe, to their next year at the beginning of 25, where they're doing roundabout to 11th. Curb gutter sidewalk situation, rebuilding.
Just an example,
Taking out
as
a bunch of
traffic gets
poles
pushed
and
different
stuff.
directions.
Yeah, they're gonna be moving the Vista stuff. I don't know all the details, that's out of Public Works, I just know.
Safety
But
improvements,
it
that's
is
a good way.
happening, yeah, Snake River Avenue is on, definitely.
But does anyway.
That's state, I think,
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we good here? We have a good start? Area 3, business promotion and neighborhood marketing. So this usually covers the events that have been, so year 1, new events were created.
That's ongoing.
And so those are just ongoing support of additional advertising, additional stuff for those events. And then the requirement from that first year was the 3 new events.
I'm
So
thinking,
continue event, sustainability and support.
yeah. Just
I like those words.
I'm on fire today, Katie.
perfect.
I didn't have any problem
just
with
made that
these, except E for me is still difficult to understand what we're really trying to do.
Haven't really done it, have we?
No, so this year we've worked on collecting testimonials, trying to get percentages from business owners on how they're impacted by events downtown, if at all. Yesterday at the chamber luncheon, I presented a little bit on that. And on average, businesses see about 150% increase in sales when we have events downtown, certain events. Ladies' Day is a great example of that. First Fridays, anything that has to do with go shop downtown, spend locally. So gathering testimonials from both the patrons and the business owners on, you know, it might cost you an additional $2 to $3 to get the same thing at my store here on Main Street versus purchasing online or, you know, big box stores. What does that mean to the business owner? And so collecting some of that information so that we have a campaign. When we're not advertising events, we're advertising the downtown district as a whole. And this is why we want people to come to us. So kind of incorporating that tourism information as well. So that's kind of part of that.
Well, I think it's extremely important for us to be involved in this, and there are so many businesses downtown that are what I call almost spot businesses. Mike's is one of them, for example. You know, and you come for a particular thing to get you go to a spot to buy a particular item, and you can promote events, like you could promote a bike race or something that started from D Street that would involve Follets, for example. But then what do? People only buy so many lights or so many soup containers, how do you get people into those businesses? And I think that's a real challenge for us to figure out, what do you do for the essential but odd business?
It's really just controlling the narrative through word of mouth. So if we're advertising Main Street lighting, for example, and they're like, well, you know, we don't have a rush of business because not everyone's buying lights right now. But, you know, my customer from yesterday got a great deal on a light, and we delivered it and installed it for her, and then she told her neighbor, who then came in a week later, who then told her neighbor, et cetera, so.
I noticed a lot of, I was down here at 10 o'clock last night with my wife, we were leaving a car to be repaired. And we specifically started at the Tribune, we went to the museum, we drove downtown just to see what the lighting was and what the attractiveness was at that time of night for people going through a downtown they have to go through. And Main Street Lighting was a very good example of a store that had things lit up. I'm sure it cost them money to light up the front, but it looked alive. And there were a lot of other businesses that didn't have a single thing that looked alive and reminded people that those businesses are there. You know, you don't have heavy traffic in front of your business, for example, at 10 o'clock at night. That would be probably a waste of your resources, but some of the other places, we could start promoting a little bit of sell yourself by making it attractive when people go through it at those odd hours.
That could
Well,
be,
we've had a conversation at previous meetings, and I think this is also on that strategic plan, to try to reach out to business owners or building owners who have empty storefronts and having some sort of something.
Yeah, we talked
in them,
about,
rather than just,
it was
Paintings.
canvas, like historical photo of that same maybe even that same building or that same street, you know, or area, you know, put on the window, just to basically cover up the vacant front and enhance.
I got pictures for days.
Yeah, and, you know, obviously the Historical Society is loaded with them. So playing up to our history, again, probably better than storefronts, or empty storefronts.
Would it be, I think this is the right category. What if the BID were to sponsor other events? So let's say out of downtown. So we just had the roundup, right? So what if BID sponsors on behalf of downtown businesses, something like that, and we throw some money outside of downtown so other people can see it?
if
I
I
would have to look to
remember,
see if that's
we
allowed
tried
by
to do
state
that the
statute.
second year. And I think part of the policy is it has to stay within the business improvement district.
But it's about
the
the
funds.
district, yeah.
But for example, we could potentially sponsor the Roundup Parade
Mhm.
and have, you know,
Downtown.
basic whatever with business improvement district pictures, whatever.
Hand out.
Just sponsored by your downtown businesses
Yeah,
kind of thing, you know?
yeah.
And I can check on
You
what
can do it.
statute
First of all,
specifically
okay.
says about outside. I know that money's,
And not,
I think maybe you could sponsor something. I know that any improvement, the money has to be spent within the district.
Yeah, this would be more of
Sure, this
a
is just marketing.
remember to shop local,
Yep.
you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, and if it was more like a campaign thing like
Yeah.
that, remember shop local, brought to you by your local.
And that's what I'm looking at, business promotion is,
That,
You
like,
can do
not
business
just
advertising
passports
only,
to
then
get
yeah.
people from
Something like
place
that
to
might be
place.
doable by statute, yeah.
And then have, you know, I've seen cities do business passports, where you go from place to place, you get it checked off, you buy something, you get an extra credit at the end of the thing, you put all that stuff in some sort of a drawing, and they get a TV set or whatever, you know, for
Ladies'
having.
Day does something like that.
Yeah, we do that for Ladies' Day. We're doing a new program for Art Walk, similar to that. We did used to do the downtown passport for Shop Small Saturday, but there was just a lack of participation. So, and it's a really high cost to print the passports and to maintain them and to be open and to, you know, have staffing available, and we're purchasing the prizes, or we're, you know, going to businesses and saying, this is what we're doing, and they're already, I mean, this is the holiday season, so they're just like, please don't do any more. Yeah, so.
we talk about flooding downtown Lewiston, you know, you talk about the rodeo, something that I think anybody, whether one of the, you know, BDL or BID do it, or some other group, on, take rodeo weekend, if we went back and we did a free rodeo, you know, pancake breakfast on Saturday morning from 6 to 9 or something, I think that'd go as far as promoting downtown Lewiston and both of the groups, as well as the businesses, as anything.
And that doesn't happen anymore. We
No,
used
it
to have
doesn't.
that,
JC's used to do it.
yeah, and that was a big deal. I mean, I was just in another community, I was over in Long Beach, Washington not too long ago. They had their rodeo, they had a huge turnout for the pancake breakfast right downtown. I hadn't even thought of
Just
that.
before the parade, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, so it'd be
Yeah.
just before the parade, people were already coming down,
Yep.
you know, you,
The problem with that is the reason it's not done anymore, JC's disbanded. There's not enough volunteers to do
No,
things
and
like
that's what I
that.
was saying, you know, it'd take a joint effort between a couple of groups.
mhm.
I mean, we're, you know, nostalgic,
It
but I
just
remember my
depended
dad and
who the
Frank
funds went
Sullivan.
to,
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
like that, you know, I mean, you could almost do it just like the Seaport River Run.
Yep.
The beneficiary provides the
Right,
volunteers, you know?
So maybe
Exactly.
the goal for 2024 would be to add two, not events, what am I looking for, what's the word I'm looking for? Two, incentive activities during our events next year.
Or even one.
Yeah, even one. I think we could easily do two. It could even be the same one done twice, depending on what it is.
We wanna do a Casey's dance. I mean, we
I
really,
know, we've talked about it
we
forever.
really wanna do a downtown dance. for
Finally
the
did the street
museum.
dance, or, you know, during whatever,
And
the
honoring
car
the-
show, that was awesome, finally getting that
That's
stuff
fine.
together.
Okay, so I put community sponsor an outside event.
And then maybe identify two incentive is the only way I can think of it. Another word for it.
I mean, literally, it boils down to getting people, bodies to volunteer, and that is a struggle.
But if it's an event that or a, you know, event's the wrong word, that the business owners are just participating and you don't need volunteers. If it's something to get them to, we're trying to get them into those businesses, right? And recognize that there's
So
something.
things to further incentivize people coming into downtown
Yeah.
and accessing businesses during an existing event.
Like identifying two ways
There.
to get them to come do these things.
That might be.
Even having the BDL office open during rodeo, I put a speaker outside right before the parade.
Oh, yeah.
I put out our First Friday sign, I put up the BID banner on the window on the outside, and just the amount of people walking past and going, oh, what's this? Something as simple as that.
You're open.
Yep, and then we ended up having a bunch of leftover local grocery bags, so my son and I walked down the street and gave them to all the kiddos to kind of help with trash and all of that. But on the volunteer side, VDL is launching their, what we're calling the hype team, so we wanna hype up downtown. And it's a volunteer program that's gonna be geared towards LCSE students and high school students to kind of come back downtown and invest in their community in an effort to keep them here and be a part of what we're doing so that, you know, when they're graduating or when they're deciding whether or not to stay here or not, they're so invested that they are the next leaders of all of these organizations through volunteer work. Yeah.
Okay, so,
Tell me.
What to do?
I got one from my homework that we could throw in there too. And I don't know how I would do it, but is there, you know, when you go to support local businesses through gifting, for instance, you know, typically the thing everybody does, okay, I'm gonna go down and buy a Happy Day gift card for my, you know, secretary or whatever. Is there a way we could do some kind of business improvement district, like, you know, where this is valid with participating members? You know, so you can give the gift of a local, you know, gift card that's gonna only used at local businesses, so there's like a I'm just wondering if there's some kind of way we
Like the
can.
cards the kids do at school that they sell and then.
Yeah, but it's
you
actually
visit,
credit, you know, it's actually,
Yeah, you would
you know, $25 at, you know,
And it would
I'm
be
sure
something.
Jones
that
Supply,
there is,
Yeah.
you know.
the feasibility of us being able to do that, watch the money.
Yeah, I know, it's difficult, I'm just,
And I
There's like
think-
a,
For today, we're just identifying things we wanna do and then we can,
yeah, I
how are
just
we
think-
gonna do it?
Well,
Yeah.
I think you can promote that stuff and then bring, you know, hopefully bring people
Yeah.
downtown with it, so.
The whole goal
I
is to
think
get
it could
people
be fit in.
downtown, so that we need to have that in as to whatever we come up with, things to get people down here. And I think they have to come down here for the stuff that's visible, but also all the businesses that aren't visible. The businesses that have some really cool stuff that nobody ever sees, you know, that's interesting.
I know she's been doing like spotlight different businesses, which is good, cause sometimes people just forget. Like Jones Supply, I mean, you're not really appealing to just the general, probably house shopper, but
Could be.
Yeah, but she'll take them.
and we're,
Yeah.
so
I would,
as part of the business spotlight in our newsletters, we're now partnering with the Tribune on their Made by Us campaign. And so we're gonna try to get, if we have a spotlight in our September newsletter, then we're gonna try to figure out how to put them in the Made by Us in September at some point, to give them a little bit more advertising that way. So working with Joanna on that, I think will be,
And that's sponsored by the
Awesome.
partners of the campaign, so it's
Yeah.
all
well, and also we have to
covered for
expand.
those businesses,
right,
yeah.
which is awesome.
Like for the BID, we have to expand our idea of downtown too. So obviously, we're very focused on the main corridor of downtown. So that's kind of the main shopping, that's the walkability
Could
piece.
you add to that, I'm just thinking like when I drive through downtown every single day, multiple times. But so there are businesses downtown that are looking to hire Powell, Cash, whatever they're called
Right.
currently, has their first, needing applications, you know, for hire, signs out. Could we also do something to promote stuff like that? Because you're not necessarily gonna go there and purchase something, but they have other needs that maybe promotion would help with. Build a new parking lot for their employees.
Okay, anybody else got anything on business promotion?
But I just think that we need to do a little bit of focus on what we would call isolated businesses, like the glass, inland auto glass, and, you know, just they're businesses that don't get everyday
That aren't
traffic,
like
but that
your
people need to be
shopper
aware that
kind
they're
of
there. What service does this business provide? What service does yours provide? You know, and I think it's a,
I think it needs to go farther than just Ninth. It seems like everything that BDL does, that we, you know, share our money with BDL, only goes to Ninth. So what about all the taxpayers from Ninth all the way where they expanded the, you know, area, Normal Hill? You know, what does that do for them? Nothing.
And being able to contact them and get a response from them too is kind of crucial, cause
Is that why
I
they,
would- yeah, I mean, I've contacted them, I've stopped into a few of them, especially ones that have either left a voicemail saying, hey, what's going on with this, why aren't
they're
we?
concerned?
Yeah, what is it? And so then my next question is, well, you know, how can I help you then? And then it's crickets.
And then it's dark.
it's a constant battle.
So even
Are we
just
good with area
advertising them.
3 for now?
Yeah.
Remember, you're gonna see all of these in print and your homework is gonna be to send more stuff back to me. Okay, so final one is BID administration. So this includes just the managing of the district, the money we pay to the city, to bill and collect the funds, the quarterly newsletter, to the ratepayers is included in this. So we had as one of the 23 was to hire an accountant to do bank reconciliations monthly for the BID assessments. We're not really doing a bank reconciliation because you're not paying things
Directly.
directly out of the BID account, we're just reimbursing BDL.
Well, some items do come directly out of the BID account, and we do have Dawn that did our financial review, doing the bank recs for the BID.
Yeah, so she just does that annually though, right? She looks
Monthly.
She does it every single month?
Every single month. And then sends it back, and I have to go through the QuickBooks account, just make sure that it's all reconciled in there, because at the end of the year, that's the file that I send
Yeah, she
her.
does the full financial, okay.
But similar to any other account, crap in, crap out, so as long as everything is being put in there appropriately versus like nothing comes out of the BID directly and it's only reimbursed, she can't look at BDL, so I'm trying to get more on the side that it comes out of the BID directly, so she has more to look at.
So is it a continue to utilize rather than hire at this point?
Yeah, so it's just per project with her, so the financial review, the bank recs are just kind of grouped into that. And then if there's anything additional that we need financially or reporting wise, then it's by the hour.
I think I think you need something in there because it's a security blanket for people who've invested their money that is being watched.
Okay, I like that.
Newsletters, where are you on staff? I guess that's the one I was.
So
curious about.
I have a work scholar until December, but his focus is our volunteer committee, so he's not really working on any of these particular items right now. The BID information is on our monthly BDL newsletters, and then we send that out electronically. We were getting too many newsletters back in the mail. It was a pretty large sum of money that was coming back to us, so. I did notice, however, when I sent out the town hall meeting in an envelope, only 2 came back. Whereas last time, I think we had close to 30 coming back, so.
Well, it was easy to read. It was a nice little insert.
Yeah.
But you didn't know it was-
I'm wondering if it's just the size of the envelope that didn't fit in their mail, I don't know what it was, but only
But
2
in terms
coming
of
back
this letter
versus
C
30.
down
We're all
here,
okay
is that
with our addresses.
something we still need to do?
Oh, hire additional staff,
Because I'm just looking at these items that are here, and I think C is.
So are we doing a quarterly
Yes,
newsletter specifically for BID still?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. Okay.
I kind of wonder, not that I need to add more to your plate, but if in one of those newsletters, I don't know which one, but you kind of have a highlight of the difference between BID and BDL.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks that they're the same thing,
Right.
and they're not the same thing. So just kind of an overview of some of the highlights of the differences, and then a link, we want your participation, you know? Something like that.
Or even if the newsletter, the BID newsletter thanked BDL for administrative staff, maybe people would understand
That
that.
it's different, yeah.
I can do a whole page on that.
Please don't waste your time.
Well, and I would think that we might have 1 or 2 people on the historic preservation group that would work with you so that you could put something in there of a historical nature in each one of those.
So
History of a
we-
particular building and then on
That'd be
its
We
side.
do that in the monthly BID newsletter, so we do with the QR codes on all the buildings. So we do a picture of the building, the QR code, and then just a really basic
Do you need
description.
more help on that, I guess is what I was just saying. Is that an area that?
Yes, but
pretty
I
easy?
don't necessarily have anything laid out to where I can say, okay, yes, I need help with this, and this is how you can help. It's
Find him
just-
when you need help.
I just need to kind of dive into it again, and newsletters were the previous admin coordinator's job, so I'm going back through and seeing where she left off, what needs to continue to be highlighted. So yes, I do need help, but not right now.
So maybe the goal is to partner at some point. I mean, I'm looking at this to partner with key organizations that can relieve some stress from your
Is
office.
that on quarterly newsletter? Or,
Well, I would think so.
Yeah, I think if I could get more content to put in those newsletters, because For the
It's a bit
first,
drag
So what if he
three,
does one
you know.
historical thing?
Yeah, so the first 2 quarters, they pretty much look the same, because there wasn't any additional, a lot of
It's a
things were
drag to
ongoing.
fill.
If he
So
does a
he
new one
would-
for you, you just plug in.
Yep,
really
so
is.
content, and you know, it's, I think the first one was only 4 pages, folded in half, 11 by 17, so in a booklet form.
And can you invite content from other causes too? I mean,
Yeah.
for instance, like Liberty could provide an
Mhm.
update on what's going on,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because,
Anything within that BID district.
Yeah.
Within the district,
I mean, I think people would be interested to know, like, hey, there is some movement going on,
yeah.
You know, we were very excited and, just a month ago, we thought we had secured a donor to pay for the balcony. She died 3 days after she made the agreement with us.
Okay, anything else we wanna add to area 4?
We would have had something exciting to write about.
I mean, it's just ongoing, right, administration, otherwise, there's not really any new things to add.
Okay, so I think we've covered all of our areas. Like I said before, I will type everything up. I will send this in its written format and the strategic plan in its written format. Homework for October is come up with some actionable items for each of these, or things you think we could do under each of these ideas so that we can come up with a total work plan that has, kind of points that we can accomplish over this next year, okay?
And just really quick on area 3, because I forgot to say this earlier, is we might partner with SBDC in getting numbers and statistics for our downtown, like what businesses do we have, what businesses are we missing?
reinvent the wheel.
They have a program that in a click of a button, it is over with, so let's make sure that we bring them in.
I've already established with them for that
Perfect, so you
reason,
could
for
probably
projections, for everything,
finish-
so it's just a matter of saying, okay, we're ready to go.
Get this report.
What do we need?
And it can be from here to 21st.
Right.
Because that's our kind of core, and then what are we missing, then we go find where we can put them.
Yep.
Okay, all right, moving on, you guys, let's go to the what did I do here? Are we on the, reschedule the town hall meet, we moved into the 24 work plan, sorry, schedule
Yeah,
the
we did
town
both those
hall.
items together, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Cause that, kind of bad on us a little bit, tough week to have that meeting,
I
and
don't know
then
why we didn't.
no responses, or not, very little responses. There was too much going on, I don't know what we were thinking. But do we wanna reschedule that today?
My recommendation, my suggestion is if, the first town hall meeting we had, 27 people show up. So I would think that if, we could send out, save the date, if we do reschedule it, send out the save the date in the next week and put it at least a month out. And then if we don't have at least 27 again, I only had 3 people RSVP for this one, so
Does that include board members?
yes. I only had 1 board member RSVP.
So you're
Just to
looking like
make
end
it
of October?
worth, the catering, the space that we're reserving, the time for board members, city staff to put these things together. It needs to be a productive meeting, so.
So in October, we wanna avoid Halloween. What else is going on in October?
We have a lot of stuff happening there. You have Pumpkin Palooza, you have Art Walk. I think there's a point at which you exhaust yourself and that becomes counterproductive.
What's that first part of November, is there?
So we don't have any events in November, for BDL anyway, except for Plaid Friday on the 24th and Small Business Saturday on the 25th.
All right, let's look to that first full week in November, how about that?
The week of the 6th,
Yeah,
okay.
any, good. Or does anybody know of anything else going on?
Saturday.
But on that day.
Yeah. even Wednesday or Thursday and still keep it at a lunch meeting? Or do we want to back to an evening meeting? What are the thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, it's hard to say because the week we chose was not a great
Right.
week. At the same time, you know, there's definitely a lot more interest in the evening time frame than the lunch time frame, so.
Still don't get RSVPs for the evening one.
Yeah,
We had more RSVPs than we had people show up though at the first one.
That was frustrating too.
and anecdotally too, it's harder for people to get away during the day hours because they don't have as much staff and a lot of owners are filling in,
Yeah.
working a lot of hours, you know.
The other one is a morning one. There's a lot of downtown businesses don't open till 9, 10.
Yeah.
Coffee and.
Even if we
Could do it
did
8 o'clock.
like, start it at 8:30 and do breakfast and then
Keep it really simple and
make the
not
program
expensive
from 9 to
breakfast.
10.
Yeah,
Just more of a snacky coffee and a.
yeah, like
Yeah.
donuts
Coffee and a
and,
roll. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
literally, we could all bring a dozen and
Yeah.
I don't
I
think.
kind of like a coffee and a donut
Yeah, I don't
town
think it's
hall,
bad.
like what BID talk or whatever.
Yeah, could you do it at a participating business potentially?
Possibly, we have the orchid room reserved because it has the screen and the mic and the
Or,
tables and the whole bit.
At least have a downtown business.
Let's
Cater
try,
the
let's
coffee.
try a morning,
Yeah.
just see if it works.
Have one,
I mean,
coffee shop.
So our caterer for this is, like for evenings, we do the, No Host Bar through Corner Villa, who is also a BDL partner. We do the food through Bravas, which is a partner also within the district.
Or any of the coffee shops partners.
Bumper Crop and Blue Lantern are both partners.
I don't know why, but November 2nd is sticking out to me today, you guys. Maybe that should be our day.
Thursday morning.
Because before that election week and the other things going on that week.
Day of the week is November 2nd.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday morning.
And by 10, because I have another meeting.
Yeah, the program would have to be from 9 to 10. We want to keep it at that just single hour.
Or 8:30, 9:30.
8:30 to 9:30, or
9:30.
Maybe doors open at 8 or something.
Because then everybody can be at their businesses at 10 when they open, you know?
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go with November 2nd. 8 to 9:30, because I'll have to do potential forum.
30 to 9:30, and then I'll say just doors open at 8.
Perfect, yeah, yep,
We want to do just coffee and pastries.
yeah.
Then I know, the last meeting, we discussed the budget for the total of that. Is that something you guys want to discuss again?
It's
Just
gonna
gonna
be less than it
carry
was
it
last
over.
time.
Yeah, if we're not doing
I'm
full.
okay with carrying it over because it's not gonna be as much.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, do we need a vote on that? Or is it just,
Yes, I would just so that
Because
it's
his
official.
financials are
somebody
attached
throw a
to it.
motion at me?
I move that we reschedule the business town hall to November 2nd. Doors opening at 8. Function started at 8:30 and ending probably at 9:30.
Need a second? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hey, any
all
board,
Come our day of the dead.
how about board member comments?
My blood power has expired, I'm ready to adjourn.
Right. Yeah, staff liaison comments. Corey, board-
Just need a query of board members to attend our regularly scheduled meeting on October 12th. Anybody not planning on being able to be here?
I'm not sure if I'll be here then.
So Mike's a questionable. Everybody else is good.
And if I can just add, I really
October
appreciated
12th.
everybody being here on time today. This was really nice and everybody being here helps.
Katie, I'm not sure, let me look. I'll have to get back to you, but I think I am.
we would still have a quorum. You don't need that.
I don't need that determined right
Okay.
now, no.
It just says action items. So it's- Okay,
Everything's
administrator,
an action item.
administrator comments.
Just plugging along.
You got things dialed in, so you're not gonna
Oh,
have a
yeah.
whole lot to say at the end like that
This is
anymore,
great.
so.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody wanna make a adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
A second.
I'm gonna guess we have no discussion. All in favor, huh?
Aye.
All right. Opposed? Let's get our days going and Katie's gonna send that out to us. We're gonna